All righty, so here we go. All right, so that is our welcome to a very special birthday episode of
Tools at Tea Time
on Tuesdays.
with Tim and Anna. Ooh,
So
happy
yeah,
anniversary, all
it's
you tea
been,
drinkers.
believe it or not, it's been a year since, well, a little bit over a year for COVID and a year for Tools at Tea Time. And we're really, really excited to celebrate 1 year. I think that Tim and Rob started this on March 31st of last year. So it's amazing that it's been a year already. So we're really excited to have all of you guys here today to help us celebrate our special birthday.
How about a quick raise of hands if you were here on March 31st, 2020, when this whole thing started? Yeah, Caitlin was here. Caitlin even showed up during spring break. I saw her in my email. Okay.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, that's why I was like, she better be here. We can't start without her. All right, so we are going to start a poll. And this poll is about how you're feeling just about right now, since spring break is over for everyone. So maybe you're a little bit spring break budget conscious and you kind of did some crazy stuff like this baby. Or maybe now it's time for you to start remembering what day it is. Or you're like the crying baby. I think that would be me. Spring break is over. Or maybe you are just thinking about the next break, which is summer break. So I'm going to start the poll.
Can we go ahead and launch it, Anna?
I launched it. Let's see if, I don't know if I can see the, I can see. All right. Very nice.
All right. Vote for your favorite meme, everybody.
All right, it's looking good. The poor baby in the sink is, I'm glad that nobody's really voting for that. So that's great. Okay, so I'm going to give it 30 more seconds. And I'm going to end poll and share results. Can you guys see it? All right, so I think that looking forward to summer break wins. And a close second is, do you remember what day it is? It's time to start remembering, right? All right, so thank you for playing with us. And you know, it's summer break is going to be here before we know it. So here is our roadmap today. It's basically the same roadmap that we've been using. We're going to have some important fan mail. We're going to discuss this week's theme and present our special guest and the tool that she's bringing to share with us. And we will end with our special community check-in and just find out how everybody's doing. All right, so.
Okay, and today's email comes from someone who's near and dear to us all at Tools at Tea Time. We think you might know who they are when you hear their voice in the background, but let's hear from our imaginary fan base for the email of the week.
Dear Tim and Anna, congratulations on the 1-year anniversary of the show. You sure have had some amazing teachers join Tools at Tea Time every week. And since we are here, let me ask you a question. I struggle to engage with my students asynchronously. I don't even know how to say it. Do you have some ideas on how to support students in the asynchronous environment? Oh, look, see, I did it. I appreciate all you do to support teachers every week. Relax from spring break, a mystery guest.
So who is this
Ooh.
mystery guest? Drum
Who is
roll,
the
please.
mystery?
Yes,
Ah!
it's none other than Robert Peo. So Robert, welcome back to the show. Can you
Oh, it's
believe it?
I can't believe it's been a year.
I know it's
And
been a year since
Caitlin,
all this
good
craziness
gosh, you've been
started.
onto
And
so many of these.
it's so
So,
much,
and
yeah.
Tracy too.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of people that have been here for most of the year. We are so glad to see you. So Robert, tell us, what are you up to these days so that everybody knows what you're doing?
So I left the museum in July, end of July, and now I'm the director of K-12 education at Denver Urban Gardens. So
Mm,
the garden season's about to start, and it's been a challenging year in terms of getting into school. So we've actually done a lot of remote programming, and but you know that's all starting to change, and you know time to get your hands dirty. So it's nice
yeah,
to be
something
back.
our teacher audience is not afraid to do, get their hands
Yeah,
dirty. So you
and
guys will
Anna,
have to reach out to Robert if you're interested in getting gardening or something going at your
yeah,
school around gardening. Yeah.
and Anna, thank you for taking over. You've done such a great job. So
Oh,
Yay,
thank you.
Anna,
Thank
yeah,
hostess with the
you.
mostess.
yeah.
Yeah, and we're so glad that you came by.
I know. I've tried to many times, but I've just never had a chance to. So I even came with a hat.
Yeah, we see that. How nice. So, Robert, why don't you share one of your favorite tools at tea time moments that you remember?
Oh gosh. You know, I think it's just in general, just like the whole intention of this is to learn about what's happening in the classroom, and so it's really served that. And I think so many teachers have been willing to be guests, willing to come. You know, in your busy schedules. You know, this is a hard time this time of year to come. So thank all of you for coming.
Yeah, and thank you, Robert, for coming to the anniversary episode
I
and being here.
surprised Nolan. There you go. Win.
Yeah,
Hi, Nolan.
and I saw Tracy's face light up the second you started reading. Yeah.
All right. And
Okay.
those of you I don't know, nice to meet you all. Nice to be part of this. So,
Yeah. Thanks, Robert.
yeah.
So, what do we got cooking today, Anna?
Oh, hi. Oh, my goodness.
I wanted to make sure she saw. All right. So thank you again, Rob. It's always great to see you.
Yep.
All
Thanks,
right. So
Anna.
our mystery guest, as he shared about asynchronous work, that takes us to this week's theme, which is supporting ELL students in an asynchronous environment. And we're very excited to have Hanna. Um, Hannah, I don't want to kill your last name. Heilig?
Heilig.
Heilig. Oh, see, I had it all wrong. Hannah is a music teacher at North Elementary here in 27J School District. And the thing about something that you might not know is that all 27J specials teachers or exploratories or whatever you want to call it, they had to do all of their work remote. Whether kids are back in the building or not, they had to figure out a way to deliver instruction asynchronously. So, Hannah's going to share some things that she's learned and a platform that really helps her. I'm going to stop sharing so you can do the sharing now, Hannah.
Welcome, Hannah.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm really happy to be here, excited. This is a really awesome program. So thanks so much for the invite to be a part of this. In the chat, I have shared a link to an activity that we'll kind of take a look at today. The platform that I use quite a bit with my kindergarten through second grade students is SeeSaw. And again, just a little bit more about me. My name is Hanna Heilig. I have been a teacher in the 27J school district since April of last year. I actually jumped on right at the beginning of the pandemic, right into remote learning. So I have had quite a bit of practice in working with students asynchronously in the K through 5 music classroom environment. So
That's love, man.
Right?
Joining last April.
Yes, it has been quite the journey, and what I knew then is not even close to what I know now. And a lot of that really just has to do with exploring and playing around with the tools, and the platforms themselves actually growing and expanding and meeting the needs that teachers are advocating for themselves on what we need to see. And so just kind of show me like a show of 5 on the screen. 5, yes, I have SeeSaw. I use it actively every day with students, all the way down to 1, I've never even heard of it. Show me where you're at.
You can show it or type it in the chat or both.
Yep, either one. All right, so we're kind of across the board here. I'm seeing a lot of 1s. I'm seeing some 2.5. Awesome. 0, yes. So SeeSaw is an interactive platform that allows teachers to deliver not just instruction and content and lessons in an interactive way to students, but also allows for communication between students as well as families, depending on the levels that you have. So in order to, and I'll actually go ahead and start sharing my screen here to kind of show what this activity looks like. The platform itself, you do need to have an account in order to access. There is a free option available, and it does give you quite a few ways that you can utilize it. However, of course, same as with anything, the paid version usually does give you a lot more flexibility, a lot more that you can physically do with the creating activities, sharing them, communication, and things like that. So here is an example of a SeeSaw activity that I had done way back in the fall this year. And see if I can make this a little bit bigger so everybody can see. So here is the activity here. And what I'd like about SeeSaw, especially since I have had to basically have all of my instruction asynchronously with my students, I don't have that face-to-face time with them. So being a new teacher to them, they didn't know who I was. I wanted to build that trust and help foster that relationship with them. Having them be able to see my face, even if it is just in a video, has been incredibly helpful and beneficial in that. So I've developed relationships with my students. They are trusting of me. And now if you click on the link that I posted in the chat, you'll likely have a screen that popped up similar to mine. If you do not already have an account, you can click sign up here in the corner. If you do have an account, you can just click save activity and it'll ask you to line in or sign in, excuse me. So here is that actual activity. Whoops. I think I need to switch screens here. Give me just 1 second. But the awesome thing about SeeSaw is that it has everything that you need for creating the activity, as well as all of the interactive pieces built within the platform itself. Oh, and it is asking me to sign in here.
Yeah, we put the chat in there again for anybody that joined us after Hannah put that in the chat. So it's in there again.
Absolutely.
And it's so funny because Hannah and I went through this, right, Hannah? I was her guinea pig, and it always works when you don't need it to.
Yes. And now, and now it's just like, you know what, we're going to go at our own pace here. And that's kind of what we've learned as teachers through this asynchronous process as well. I can't even find the chat here. I apologize. So
Okay.
Anna, if you wouldn't mind copying and pasting that link again
Yeah, we
in
put
the
the-
chat for me, that would be wonderful, just so
Sure.
everybody has access to it.
It's
But
in there
here-
right now, Hannah. It's the last thing in the chat. There we go.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. And so can everybody see my screen okay, where it says sample on the side? This is an example of my classroom. And as a teacher, I add my assignments to my classroom so that my students can go in and review the lesson. Now, they'll always get the directions at the beginning and the front. They have cool features where it allows you to use these icons as a way to help communicate to the students, especially those that are kindergarten, at first and second, where they're learning to read instead of reading to learn, where they can use symbols and icons as a way to understand the directions instead of just so many words that they're having to read, where they can do things a lot more independently. Now, if I was a student, I would click on add response here, click on my name as the student, and now I have access to the activity. And so it's going to pop up with multiple different slides here. These are everything that I need to do. Just some of the features that I'm going to highlight. You'll notice that there's a lot of tools on the screen. So this select button, there are different drawing tools down at the bottom. It allows you to change the color using the color bar on the side, eraser if you need it. And then all of these extra features along the left-hand side where they can add text response, a recording response, so just voice recording. They can add photos, videos, or upload things that they already have on their computer or phone, because this is available as a phone and tablet app as well, not just on the computer. Or add things like shapes, backgrounds, links, or even voice. Now this voice tool has been really awesome. That's actually a new update that they just did here in February, I think. So kind of like I said, it has everything available for you, just ready to use in the platform. So this video that I have here, this is my instruction of reading through a song story in Rafi's songbook. And so I was able to actually just record this video here in SeeSaw. I didn't have to use any other recording anywhere else. I just recorded it right in SeeSaw by clicking on this button over here, video, recorded myself, and it just put it right there. Now on these other slides, some of the other features, the video again allows me to continue giving instruction in a way that they can see my face. They're getting direct instruction from me without actually being there. And then to help them, especially my younger students or students that are ELL, I do teach in a district that has a very high ELL population. And so I need to give them extra support as well. And this new tool here, if you notice, I'm hovering over this audio, it allows me to record or upload any audio so that I can help give them that support in practicing the objective here, rhyming words. So if I click, it plays the audio for me, whatever I recorded or whatever I uploaded. And then the students can drag and drop items. They can add items, all of these different tools to get through the lesson. And then if I wanted them to give their own response, this is again, one of those really cool things with the audio here. I have directions written for them on the screen. A kindergartner is not going to be able to do this activity by themselves without the help of an older sibling or a parent who can sit there and read them the directions. However, if you've practiced this with them, you can teach them to click on the audio button and it'll read the directions to them. So now, even with those EL students as well, they're getting the words in front of them as well as being able to hear it and read along with it. And again, with SeeSaw, it has all these different tools. So you have multiple different ways that they can respond to you. You can have them just record their voice. You can have them create the text box and type it out. Or they can even just use the pen tool. And especially if they're doing this on like a tablet or a touch screen of some sort, they can write it with their finger. And that just allows for multiple different ways for your students to respond to you. It allows for you to get any kind of extra assessment tools in different ways from them. And yeah, it's been super, super, super helpful. And I know that I'm talking specifically about elementary age students, but this could be incredibly beneficial for students in the middle school and secondary as well, just because it has so many different features to it, and they can add things like links and do a lot of creative things with it.
Hanna, did your kindergartners get onto it, or did they seem to get used to using it? Was it pretty intuitive?
Yes, most of them have been able to. The ones that tend to are the most independent are the ones that did have a parent supporting them or older siblings supporting them at the beginning, and then they were able to be independent with the activity. That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Hanna, have you thought about how you might use this in a face-to-face situation?
Absolutely. I actually really enjoyed using centers and different activities like that when I had students in my classroom. And so this was a way that cuts down on paper if you're wanting to help reduce all of those paper things. It also, if you have your classes set up in a way that the students are in there according to like email addresses and things like that, those kind of come with more of the paid options. It actually creates a portfolio for the students so that all of their work gets saved in this portfolio and follows them year to year. So now they've built up this whole resource of everything that they've done in collection of work.
And the portfolio feature is really nice when you have conferences, because then all the digital work is there. And also, Rob, your question about the face-to-face, I think that if you were to do the flip model and you flipped your lesson, then they could go home, and instead of doing homework as traditional homework, they could do the learning. And then when they come back to school in person, they could be doing activities with the teacher instead of doing the learning with the teacher. So the flipped classroom model would really benefit from a platform like this.
Yeah, and it looks like Danielle popped something into the chat about how she's using it too, everybody. So be sure to keep watching the chat.
All right, so I am going to go ahead and get us going with the community check-in. I think that's you, Tim.
Okay, so we're going to send you to breakouts to discuss with each other. So what are some ways that you are successfully connecting with your students through asynchronous activities? And how might SeeSaw be able to help you to reach some of your goals that you have for things you're trying to do, both in person and asynchronously? So we'll send you out.
All right, so if you happen to be in room number 1, go ahead and say no, decline. Just don't do anything, don't click anything, and stay with us. This way we'll be able to record a conversation. Here we go.
And don't forget, you'll be able to ask Hanna questions independently after the program too. If you want to stick around, she'll be here for a few minutes. Thanks, Hanna.
All right, so what are some ways that you guys have found success with the asynchronous world?
So I've used Nearpod a lot, actually, to connect with students. And I've also used Flipgrid to connect with students.
Do you flip your classroom at all, Tracy, or do you just use the platforms?
I I just use the platforms. I haven't like formally flipped my classroom. It is something I'm thinking about doing. Especially now that, students all, for the most part, have access to a computer or a laptop or something. So it's something I'm going to definitely look into in terms of making it a little bit more, I guess, formal and structured like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and Tracy, I was thinking about Nearpod when Hannah was showing us, and I was thinking how I really like how the video feature is embedded right into SeeSaw, even though Flipgrid is kind of embedded in Nearpod. It just seems simpler from both the teacher, especially the teacher side of it.
Yeah.
Michelle or Lynn?
I'm not sure if they're there
They're
or
refilling their teacups, I think.
And Tracy, I have used Flipgrid as well. I actually use that with my my intermediate students, so my 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, because they don't have access to the SeeSaw platform there on Google Classroom. And so for me, I record a lot of my videos either using Screencastify or Flipgrid, but any way that I want a video response from them, especially since I'm not face-to-face with them, so I get to see their face, I get to see the way that they interact, and then I've actually done some performance related things with them too. I love Flipgrid. I'm curious about Nearpod. I actually haven't, I've seen a little bit about it, but I'm very curious to see how that works. Interested.
Well, we have a whole episode. You can go on our archives and check it out. We got a whole episode about Nearpod, right, Tim?
Yeah, and Hannah, I'm curious, why did you choose to use Flipgrid with your intermediate students as opposed to SeeSaw?
It was a district. They provided us with Google.
Does it not play well with Google? Oh, because it doesn't, SeeSaw doesn't play as well with Google Classroom, or?
It will. It was just how the license was created,
okay.
and
Yeah,
out.
so pre-K to 2 in our district has full access to SeeSaw. And then 3, 4, 5 and above, they went with Google Classroom. So
Oh, okay. I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, that's similar in our district too. Like pre-K through 2, I think had SeeSaw, and then above that we use Schoology, but.
Oh yeah. And our district tried to go with Schoology, but for the middle and high school, but it didn't play well with our resources. We use Pearson a lot, so they didn't talk, so we had to dump it. I'm going to go ahead and close out the breakout rooms. That takes them about 1 minute to come back.
While they're coming back, I don't know if you guys knew, but Kahoot is going to integrate with Zoom and I think Google Meet, where they can actually vote instead of having to vote on their phone during Kahoot games. They can just vote right there in the chat in Zoom. And it was supposed to be rolled out at the beginning of the year, but when I wrote to them this year, they said, oh, it's going to be opening in April. So yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that'll be really nice, I think, when that's available.
Yeah, more and more, we're just getting so many integrations. It's really cool.
That's what I really liked about SeeSaw, Hannah, is it's like everything in one package. Kind of like Tracy was mentioning, Nearpod has almost everything in one package too. So.
And I didn't find it as useful as in the beginning as I do now, just because they have come out with so many different updates and so many more things that, like that voice feature being in the music realm, it has made all of the difference.
All right. So, well, Hannah, we really appreciate you spending the time to show us this cool platform. And as you can see, Tim and I are looking real good after our spring break of biking. Right, Tim?
Yeah, let's go. And is that Kevin catching up there?
Oh yeah, Kevin's trying to catch up, or it could be Rob. I don't know. I don't know. Um, so we've reached the end, my friends, of our special birthday episode. The resources are in this folder, and the recording of the episode will be archived on our website at dmns.org.
And we hope you'll join us next week when our special guest will be nationally recognized educator and author of several NSDA books for elementary and middle school teachers, Jessica Fries Gaither. And she's going to be talking about notebooking, science notebooking, but I think it will apply to notebooking in general. So we'd also love to have you join us for one of our professional learning courses this summer, Anna. Oh, thanks. And so we have several up on the site right now. The one that just went up is our field seminars for teachers. So if you are looking to break out of the computer box and get outdoors, we're going to have 3 different field days up in Rocky Mountain National Park, where we'll have experts from the Park Service and different people. You can get a little ecology and a little environmental science and just hang out with peers. And you can even join us for the cap-off event, which is optional on August the 3rd. After the 3rd field day, we'll have an overnight camp out. And so you can sign up for one or sign up for all 3 of these. If you sign up for all 3 sessions, you can get 2 graduate level credits from the Colorado School of Mines.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, details are on our website.
Yeah, I hope people take advantage of that. That sounds amazing.
And
All
I'm
right.
cooking dinner. So
Yeah, Robert may be there cooking dinner for us.
Woo!
Ooh, he's a good cook.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
come on.
here we go. So if you like today's episode, tell your friends and let us know what other topics might be useful to you. Tim, I don't know, do you want to share that link?
Yeah, we're looking at the future of tools at tea time. This program was created originally to just be a way for people. I'm trying to copy and talk at the same time.
I'll copy it.
I got
I'll
it.
copy it.
So
Okay.
it was originally meant for a show to support teachers during the pandemic, and we're wondering if we should still have this show or not. If it morphs into something else, and the people who should have the people we want to hear from are you. So there's a link if you're interested in letting us know about what you want to know about what you think about the future of tools at tea time. Is it time to put it to bed, or is it time to do something new with it? So there's a link, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we really do appreciate your feedback. And if you want to stick around and ask Hanna any personal closer questions about, let's not ask her personal questions.
Who's not going to stick
about
around now?
We're gonna be here for the next 5 minutes or so, or we want to make sure that we respect our time. But if you have questions, please stick around.
And if you're leaving us now, as always, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming.
Yes, thank you for coming.
Hi, Hannah. Thank you for sharing. SeeSaw, I have a question. And 2, I'm wondering about if anything surprised you about how kids chose to respond to you. I mean, because in my mind, I love like that kids could draw a picture, they could type, they could verbalize back. And I think that would be so useful. I love offering my students that choice.
That's actually a really good question. I typically give them a specific direction on what I'm looking for in their response, but oftentimes the student would choose to respond in whichever way they liked to. Most of them would respond according to the directions, but occasionally I would ask for, can you record your voice? And I would get a typed answer instead. And to me, that was okay because it allowed them to give me an answer in a way that was comfortable to them or that they could navigate the best. Or if they were having a hard time, I didn't allow access for my microphone. That happens sometimes. They had other alternative ways that they could respond. Or sometimes I would ask them to record their voice, but instead I would get a video of them and then I got to see their face. And even though some of them are not comfortable in video, a lot of them love that and really flourished their answers.
Well, thank you. I do want to play around with it. And then my last question was just to get a snapshot, and this is my first time here at Tea Time, by the way, so thank you.
Welcome, Marianne.
Yes,
Thank
welcome.
you. I'm glad to be here. If you could just give me kind of a snapshot, and I know everybody is different, but when you first started using SeeSaw, how long did it take you to prepare everything on it to now? How long does it take you?
That's a good question. And again, it really depends on what you are looking to do. Once you kind of have figured out some of the tricks on how to input things, and if you're having repetitive slides, not creating every single slide that you're doing, there's ways that you can import things. So if you already have PDF files of worksheets and things that you want the students to be able to do and write on, all you have to do is import that. And there's an option when you're creating the lessons on, okay, I want to upload this thing from Drive or upload a file. You have the ability to do that, or even take a screenshot of it on your computer and upload it onto the slide that way. And then the student can just like if you had a math worksheet, they could just write down on it or type the number. And then that way you're able to use all these digital resources that you already have that you would probably normally just give to them in a paper version, and just input them into the slides quickly. And then you're not really having to create a whole lot. So I would say at first, utilizing what's already out there, especially the community resources. So I didn't even actually showcase any of that, but I think I don't know if the free version allows for that, but there is a whole plethora of lessons that are already published. So if you're using like Super Kids activities with students, there's entire units of things that other teachers have already created that you can just go in, flip through, make sure it aligns with what you want your students to do, and then click assign to them, and it's already done.
I'm really,
A lot of our teachers actually in our school actually started that way, where we were utilizing the community resources before we started really exploring, okay, what can I create on my own and make it more my style?
Mm.
good.
Yeah, maybe that's a nice way to kind of ease into it.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like Nearpod, Hannah, in that you can take one of the existing lessons that they've already have created and then just take parts out you don't want, put things in that you do want?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can literally assign it as is, or you can save and then you can copy and edit it in any way that you want.
Yeah, kind of like Edpuzzle or Pear Deck. They allow you to do that as well. And
Mhm.
it's really helpful because then you can kind of play around with it without having to do all that work right away. But then you kind of get excited about it and you want to
Yes.
do it. So
Yes.
And
In
no
the-
one, go ahead, Marianne, I'm sorry.
No, in the archiving, thank you, Tim. If you're archiving or you're creating a portfolio of work for students, could it potentially be used? I teach high school chemistry.
Okay.
And I like defaulted to, we did the whole yeast thing when everybody was sheltering in place, because I was like, what can I give kids to get something besides a screen in front of them? But now I really want to know, do you think I could use that if kids were doing some sort of experiment or documentation on an ongoing basis at home, and then have this journal over time? That's really piqued my attention.
Mhm.
Yes. And that's actually exactly what they call it, is the student journal. So it's organized however you want to organize it. It could be just organized just under the student, but you're able to actually go in there and add specific tags for things. You can organize all of your assignments into specific folders. So if it's for, yeast project, you can, put it under that. Or specifically okay, this is all of their Q1 work. However you want to organize it. You can also attach skills to it as well, so that, if you are looking back to, okay, I need to put in some assessment grades, And I want to pull all of the activities that we did that have showcased student is able to do XYZ off of your standards list. And as long as you attach that stuff to all of those, you just click on that and it pulls up everything that they've done that is attached to that skill.
Yeah, Marianne, your idea reminds me of something I did with a group of pre-service teachers that turned out similarly, where they documented as they were given materials you would have at home, and they were supposed to use those to try to create an experiment that demonstrated which way heat flows, from hot to cold, cold to hot. And it was so interesting to see how they each took different approaches to designing their experiment. And then they created Flipgrid videos where they showed what they did. They talked about why they designed it the way they did and what they thought they had discovered from that. And then they could show, the other students could look at each other's videos. Can they do that in SeeSaw, Hannah? Can they look at each other's work and videos?
Depends on how you have the settings established in your classroom. For my purposes, I don't allow them access, because if it posted, basically it would be like a social media platform where they can post whatever they want and everybody can see it. So then it's like, okay, well, they're just going to take the work of somebody else, and it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know that elementary would necessarily do that, but high school chemistry would for sure. So I have it set so that I am the only one that's able to see their work aside from themselves. But yes, you could.
Point well taken. That you always have to think about the security on those things too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, Hannah, we really appreciate your time and your expertise, and we really do appreciate all that you shared with us today. And Marianne, it was so nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Tim. It was great to be here. Hannah, thank you. Thanks for the generosity of your time and sharing. Have a great night.
Yeah. Great questions.
You too.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.